Lesson 20. We're still in the Bastien book. Page 39, playing Simple Gifts. Now you might recognize this tune. You might not, but a lot of people recognize that tune. It's an old tune. And it's called the Shaker Melody. All right, there's a lot to this one. We start at the beginning. The melody starts in the bass clef for those two notes and then switches to treble clef. Now it's 4/4 time, 2 chord notes, that's only 2 beats. So those are pickup notes, like we've had before, pickup notes. So this is not the first measure of the piece. This is the first measure. This is only half of a measure. And I have a little problem with this because right there, you see that whole rest? That really should be a half rest. But I think the computer program that was putting this together just couldn't quite, handle that. So sometimes if the whole space is rest, they'll just use the whole rest. But I wanted to point that out so there's no confusion. It's not like there's 4 beats there and 2 beats there. That means that whole space is going to be silent. All right. So let's just look at the melody. Okay, we start in the bass clef, just in the G's, then we go right to C. So it's G, G, C, C, D, E, C, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C. Just for that part. Look at that. It's going down a scale. That's easy. Here we're starting to go up the scale, but it goes down. Be careful you go down to a C now. You skip the D, go down to C, and then back to E. So a little back and forth for E, C, E. Then keep going up the scale. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then we come in on notes because that's 3, 4, 1. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 'Tis a gift to be simple. 'Tis a gift to be free. 'Tis a gift to come down where you ought. And now we have to go to a B. So finger number 1 is going to move over to the B. And then the right hand takes care of the G. That's one reason why it'd be nice to be able to watch my hands as we're doing this. But I think you can get it. Because we have D, E, D. Then we move the thumb over to the B. Just like when we're doing a G7 chord. So you're used to moving your thumb over a step. Okay? You'll be fine with that. All right. Let's start right on gift. 1, 2, 3, and give to come down where you ought to be when. Now this when is like tizza. It's a pickup note to the next line. When we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. It's pretty easy finger-wise movement. This part here, we find ourselves in the place just right, it will. That might have, when you're playing along with me, you might have thought, wow, I played that pretty well. You know why? Because the same thing we had there. We've already done those notes. It's a little. Now this line is just a little different than that one. We have some D's. Just go up a step to E's, back down to D, and then to C's. So really, it's not that challenging for the melody, except for having to switch hands and moving your thumb for that note. Let's do the whole melody now, all the way through. And this is another one of those where I'm going to keep singing the words to the song just to help us stay together. when you're practicing, remember it's good to say the names of notes like G, G, C, C, D, E, C, E, F, G, especially when you're doing something like that. When there's something different there. Saying the notes makes all the difference. The same thing with here. D, E, D, B, G. Especially that. You're going to practice that part a lot. D, E, D, B, G. All right. Here we go. Let's do it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where you want to be. When we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. All right, it's pretty. Now, we're going to just do the chords. So we have a C chord. It's a whole note. It's 4 beats long, tied to another C chord. So that's another whole note, 4 beats, tied to another whole note C chord. So right now we have 4, 8, 12 beats plus 2 more. A half note. So it's going to be like this. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free. Then a half rest. We got to lift up the chord while we play 'tis a. Then we go to the G7. Give to come down where you. Then you release the chord for the rest there. For ought to be. And we need to do that because that's an arpeggio for a different chord. And we don't want to have that G. And then we have to play that G anyway, so that's just too messy. So we have rest there. That's the hardest part of, no, I'm sorry, hard. It's not hard, it's challenging. This is the most challenging part, is releasing the chords. Every time I teach this, I have found for most of the students, that's the thing. Knowing when to stop playing the chord, or remembering to stop playing the chord. So we have 'tis a, those are notes without a chord, those are pickup notes. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free. That's the end of that phrase. Then 'tis a, those are pickup notes. So there's no chord for pickup notes. 'Tis a, then chord, give to come down where you ought. And then here we have to release ought to be. So ought to be can be just by itself. And then when, that's a pickup to the next line, so there's no chord. When we find ourselves in the place just right, just like here, we end the chord for the pickup notes. It will, then chord, be in the val, and then release the chord, E of, and then finally, love and delight. So we're just going to do the chords right now. Here we go. This first note's a little low. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free. Lift up. 'Tis a gift to come down where you lift up and be. When we find ourselves in the place just right, lift up. It will be in the valley, lift up, Lee of love and delight. Let's do it again. Here we go. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free. Lift up. 'Tis a gift to come down where you ought to be. When we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. And this one, for me, I find this a little tricky because you're playing an E, and you're playing another E, and you're repeating that note, but you're lifting the chord. there's no law against, holding it all the way through a valley, but they want to be really consistent with having these notes that are leading to the next part be without a chord. All right. Now, when you're practicing this, before you do the chords, adding the chords to the melody, you should probably do the melody again. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free. Not that fast, but just do the melody. Maybe just do the chords again. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where you ought to be. When we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. Then put them together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where you ought to be. When we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. There you go. That's how it's going to be. So work out all these individual things. Maybe practice like here, starting on gift. Gift to be free, 'tis the gift. Just doing that. So we broke it down so we could practice releasing that chord. Now you wouldn't want to start on free. You need to lead into it again. Let's do that one more time. Gift. Ready? Go. Gift to be free, 'tis a gift. And you can do that same sort of thing here. Just practice those little bits and pieces. And then go back and play the whole thing just like we did a moment ago. Very nice. Simple gifts.